Hi, I'm Ensign Strider and welcome to my video regarding Mass Effect 4. I haven't decided on a title for this video yet because the titles I had in mind were a bit misleading. I'm sure something will come to mind. But it's essentially along the lines of why Mass Effect 4 won't happen or will be extremely difficult to make. This video came during a conversation with one of my friends. We're discussing the lore of Mass Effect, in particular the ending. So if you haven't finished Mass Effect 3 yet, you might want to click off now because I'm going to go into the endings in a little bit of detail because Mass Effect 4 is directly going to be influenced by the endings. Now, onto the subject. If Mass Effect 4 is to happen, I think it's most definitely going to be next generation. I think Bioware will want to continue the trilogy format, the Commander Shepard trilogy, which we've already got, and Mass Effect 4 is starting off with a brand new character. Now, the reason why I think this can't happen, or maybe shouldn't happen, is because of the endings, the fact that they are so varied in the outcomes. I mean, as an example, let's just say you chose the synthesis ending. Now, in your ending, everyone shares information and is connected somehow with space magic cybernetically, and they share information and ideas and ideals, meaning there can't be any conflict there. So, if there's no conflict, what would the game be about? It doesn't make much sense to me if you chose the synthesis ending. By the way, if you chose the synthesis ending, shame on you for forcing that on people. Shame on you. That seems more renegade than the renegade action. The red ending. This isn't going to be a video on the hatred of the endings, by the way, so just so you know. Yeah, so the synthesis ending, there will be no conflicts in the galaxy because everyone is at, at a core level, the same, sharing ideals and ideas, and there will be no conflict there. Everyone will be at peace, everyone will be holding hands and skipping around the Prothean Mass Effect relay monument on the Citadel. It'd be pretty boring. There would be no conflict there. I can't see how, with that ending on its own, as holding any possibility to a sequel. So let's also not forget that. Let's just say, I'm using the example as you chose the synthesis ending, and let's just say, for the sake of argument, I chose the control ending. Now, if that is in the next generation, talking about Mass Effect 4, that is, how would that work? It wouldn't be able to read my save file from the previous console, so our endings would conflict. They would have to make some sort of overall ending, which would, where they try to appease all the fans, which wouldn't work. Yeah, you'd have to have everyone cybernetically enhanced. You'd have to have the Reapers around, but then we've hit them with a stumbling block. The Reapers can't be around. They're either destroyed or controlled. I mean, this has to be mentioned in a direct sequel. Are the Reapers still around? Are they aiding in the galaxy? Unless this is in the far-flung future, but I'm sure that some, information, some sort of data will be kept on the Reapers. This was something that threatened to destroy all galactic life. So there would have to be, in Mass Effect 4, this is talking about a direct sequel, some sort of information regarding the Reapers. Are they around? Are they not? So yet again, the destroy endings are in direct conflict for a possible sequel to Mass Effect 3. This just doesn't work in my idea, because Mass Effect 4 is almost definitely going to be on the next console, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox 720 or whatever the hell it's going to be called, Project Durango. So the endings will be in direct conflict to each other. There's no way they could do a story, an opening story, an opening description of what's going on in the galaxy, with the Reapers being around or not being around, and also with the synthesis ending. You've got to have everyone cybernetically enhanced and all part of a sort of like a shared network similar to the Geth, where everyone thinks the same and shares ideas. This just doesn't work. It can't possibly be a sequel to Mass Effect 3, a direct sequel following on chronologically to, I'm not even going into Commander Shepard in it or not. It can't work because the endings are just so different. I mean, a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but we could do a prequel. Do a prequel. Now, I even thought about this, and I was thinking, yeah, it would be awesome maybe to have, say, let's just say the First Contact War. Let's just say you're a human fighting against the Turians in a prequel, set in the First Contact War. And I thought about this long and hard, and I thought, well, that could work, until I got to how the game would end. Now, we've already suffered one bad ending, and Bioware hopefully don't want to repeat history again with that. And didn't the Asari step in at the end of the First Contact War? And it was all done with diplomats and, you know, talking off in a back room somewhere. So you're fighting the war on the ground against the Turians, and suddenly the Asari pop up and go, oh, hey, we're sorry, it was a misunderstanding, you activated that relay, the Turians, you know, they decided they were going to try and stop you from doing that, we're sorry, everything's been worked out with your politicians and our politicians, everything's fine now. What sort of ending would that be? You've been busy fighting the fight, you'd think you'd at least have some sort of say in the outcome, but you wouldn't. That would be left to politicians in a shady back room somewhere. Now, I even went and looked at the Rachni Wars. Now, we could do something, a prequel set in the background wars. Maybe you're playing as a Krogan, but yet again we hit the stumbling block of an ending. Bioware won't want to give you a bad ending, and let's face it, if you play a prequel set in the Rachni Wars, your ending is going to be, and you know this ending is coming. If this game does happen to exist, a prequel set in the Rachni Wars, which would be, hey, you've saved us from the Rachni threat, now your race is sterilised. That just doesn't make sense either. That isn't a satisfying ending. If I was playing that game and I got to the end and, you know, it's like, now your race is sterilised, thanks a lot for that. There's no payoff there. It's, yet again, you know, you've hit a down point. You can't possibly make a prequel because, you know, the Mass Effect history is already set in stone. It's in the Galactic Codex from Mass Effect 1. I believe it's in 2 and 3 as well. I think I read them in all 3 games just to check if there was anything different. And there was the entry on the War of the Citadel, Battle of the Citadel, the Collectors in Mass Effect 3. It did add on, and I read them. I always read the Codex entries. I'm just sad like that. Every time a new one comes up, I'm instantly reading it. Yeah, so you can't have that. So what else is left for maybe a prequel idea? Oh yeah, there's the Krogan rebellions. So let's just say you're playing as a Turian this time against the Krogan. That would be an awesome game. I would buy that. I would play, but yet again we're hitting the down point. The ending would suffer if we were to play through the Krogan rebellions, because at the end, let's just say you're a Turian on the ground fighting against the Krogan, where a virus is being developed off on I can't remember the Solarian's home name, Surkesh. A virus is being developed on Surkesh, and it's being deployed, and you've just sterilised the Krogan and pretty much committed genocide. Well done, you. Yet again, that wouldn't be a satisfying ending. Going through any sort of prequel ideas and you know, going through some of the history, I just couldn't pinpoint a point where it would make an interesting game, because with going into a prequel territory, we already know how the stories are going to end. There wouldn't be much intrigue or much to keep you going, you know, to see what happens next. I could be wrong, you could disagree with me completely here, but every time I went into, you know, the history of Mass Effect, you know, Mass Effect 1, before that, all the way back, I couldn't pinpoint anywhere where there will be a interesting ending. I just couldn't do it. You know, I went through absolutely everything. The only thing that was left open to me was maybe the humans and the Batarians, the conflict between the two during the was it the Skillian Blitz, the Skillian Verge, the conflict there. I thought maybe that's open to some maybe a prequel, So right there, maybe including some political intrigue with the humans and the Batarians, with the Batarians on the Citadel. Maybe that could work. That could work as a prequel idea. Maybe there could be some sort of like some sort of conspiracy there going on. But that was the only point during the history of Mass Effect, going back for prequel ideas, where there could be an effective game. And I ran through a few just situations in my head where it could work. I mean, we know how roughly it ends, but we don't know exactly how it ended. I believe it ended with the Skillian Blitz, but there was still that conflict there with the Batarians and the humans. So for a prequel, that was the only point in the history of Mass Effect where I think there was definitely an opening for a prequel. A sequel, in my opinion, is completely undoable. But a prequel, that was the only point that I could pinpoint where a game could hold water, could hold weight. And that's the only point I could come across, because with the Krogan Rebellions and the First Contact War, there wouldn't be an interesting payoff at the end. Maybe if they wove some political intrigue into the conflict between the Batarians and the humans in the Skillian Verge, maybe that could work as a new trilogy for the Mass Effect series. But then I also thought, surely if these things happened, unless they were extremely like clandestine Black Ops or something, maybe wouldn't they already be mentioned in the Codex? There's nothing in there now, so that was the only sticking point for me. I thought if there was a trilogy of games with some sort of galaxy-threatening threat, which the Batarians, I doubt that. I would love to see Batarian Bioware, by the way. If anyone's watching this from Bioware, I'd love to see a Bioware Batarian teammate, just one, please, even only temporary. But yeah, that was the only point that I thought could hold water, could hold weight, and would support a prequel. Now, then my thoughts turned to EA, with good reason. It got me thinking about what game they would want from BioWare, and I seem to think EA would like some of that MMO subscription money. They would love some of that. Now, they've already had BioWare work on a MMO, the slightly unsuccessful Star Wars The Old Republic, which has now gone free to play, hoping that they're going to sell enough games to, at least reclaim some of their losses from the development of the game. Developing any game costs money, so they're hoping to sell enough units to reclaim some of that lost money. But unfortunately, they're not getting the subscription fee. EA would love that subscription fee money. That's a fact. Every month, money coming in. They want that. They want that. It makes business sense, and they want that money. Now, the Star Wars from MMO didn't run. There was problems, and people weren't liking it, and people weren't playing. So they just want some of that MMO money. You just know it. You can feel it. So what franchise are they going to turn to next? Now, my thoughts for the next Mass Effect game are probably going to be a Mass Effect MMO. It's sad, but unfortunately, I think this is the most likely target for the next MMO from EA. They want that MMO monthly subscription fee. They can taste it. They've seen the success of World of Warcraft, and they threw their hat into the ring with Star Wars, The Old Republic, and it didn't take off. And they want some of that monthly subscription fee. They want your money. It's completely obvious. I mean, how much money did it cost to get all the DLC for Mass Effect 3? There was DLC that came with a keyboard, there was DLC that came with a pad, there was DLC that came with figures, there was DLC that came with a limited edition, there was DLC that came with almost anything Mass Effect related. And I think in the end, when it got added up by someone, I don't know who, so I'm sure you can find it if you Google this, but if you added it up together, it came up to £600 plus. If you wanted all the day one DLC, over £600 for one game. It may, if this just reeks of EA all over. So I can see them targeting Mass Effect for their next stab at a big MMO. So if a Mass Effect MMO came out, would I buy it? Absolutely not. It would obviously the MMO would obviously be set before Mass Effect 1, just right before, with the choice for a Citadel race, which the Quarians would fall under, or a what's that area called? The one that's the one where all the other pirates and Omegas. It's escaping my mind for some strange reason at the moment. The one that Shepard, the Mass Effect 2, took a place in. I don't know why I can't remember. I'm such a huge fan. I mean, I'll just show you how much of a huge fan, because I know I'm going to get some hate messages for this say, you're foolish, Mass Effect 4, of course it's going to happen. It probably is, but in my opinion, I think it's going to be MMO. I'll just show you how much of a fan of Mass Effect I am. If you've seen my previous videos, you'll have seen me wearing the N7 t-shirt. So, here we go. Bear in mind, I got this before... well, I pre-ordered this before it came out, because the thought of decisions influencing an entire trilogy really enthralled me, and the fact it was a Bioware game, and I've been a Bioware fan since Baldur's Gate. I love that game. I played the whole thing through with my girlfriend. She loved it, I loved it, and at that point I was hooked on Bioware games. I played every single one. I played Knights of the Old Republic, I played even Jade Empire, which didn't sell that well. Why don't they just give us a Jade Empire 2 sequel? Jade Empire sequel, Jade Empire 2. I would love that. But there we go, I pre-ordered that. That's the collector's edition right there. I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. You know, I pre-ordered that, it came with the free stuff, I paid the extra money for the collector's edition, because I wanted to see how decisions would play out across an entire trilogy. They stated before this came out, it was a trilogy. So I went out, I got the collector's edition. Okay, so there we go, there's Mass Effect 2. Now when this come out, it had switched to EA. I had a boycott on EA at this point. I wasn't going to play any more EA games because I was fed up with the way they treat their customers. And when they acquired Bioware, I stuck with Bioware. Even though it was an EA game, I lifted my ban on EA games, my self-imposed ban on myself to not buy any more EA games because of the way they treat their customers. So there we go. There's the collector's edition. I gave EA some more of my money so I could continue playing Mass Effect. And then that brings us right up to date, collector's edition yet again, with Mass Effect 3 collector's edition. That's how much of a fan I am. Okay, and then we've got the novels. Evolution, Ascension, Retribution, and Deception. Quick note on this. A few people, after reading this, granted it's not brilliant, a few people went out after reading this and were burning books. Please, people, do not burn books. You're sending us way back to the Dark Ages there. I mean, yeah, vent your anger. And, you know, be constructive about it and just say, what the hell were you thinking? This book is full of plot holes and it's terribly written. This is actually the one out of all 4 of the books that I actually finished the quickest. The only reason was because I wanted to get to the end of it, and that was it. For any possible, you know, Mass Effect 3 hints about what was going to happen, I read it the quickest because I just wanted it to be over. But please, people, don't burn books. That's sending us back to the Dark Ages. Really is. There's no book that bad that warrants burning. So, and also I have the comic books over there somewhere. I'm not going to go and get them, but the only 2 I'm missing are Homeworlds 3 and Homeworlds issue 4. So please, people, you know, I am a fan. Don't be going hating because I'm saying that Mass Effect 4 won't happen. In all probability, it will. But don't be hating. I am a huge fan and I would love to see another Mass Effect game. This series means a lot to me. Bioware means a lot to me. And it's just a shame that EA are dipping their fingers and you know, they're messing with Bioware, and it's sad to see. I'm not saying Mass Effect 4 isn't going to happen. I'm saying it almost definitely will. But unless EA step out, it's going to be terrible. I think with the ending of Mass Effect 3, a direct sequel is improbable. A prequel, I can't see many places for a prequel to take place besides the Skillian Blitz. But I think MMO is where the future is at for Mass Effect, which will be a sad day. I don't want to see it become an MMO. It is ruined. Mass Effect is a story-driven game. It can't be translated into an MMO. it could work. I could be completely wrong. Anyhow, I intended this video to be a discussion piece, so please leave your comments in the section below. Don't be hating. This is just my opinion. So please leave your comments down below and leave your opinion. If I'm completely wrong, please feel free to tell me. And if Mass Effect 4 gets released and it actually fits in with a perfect sequel following on from Mass Effect 3, I will openly admit I'm wrong. Hey, I may even try the Sinner's Sandwich again. If you've seen my previous videos, I may even try the Sinner's Sandwich again. I will eat my words. But a direct sequel, I don't think it's possible. Anyhow, I've been N7 Strider, and I should go.